Okay, hello dancers. Today we're going through supporting a return to studio. It's all about setting smart intentions as you head into the studio after a break. Whether you've been on vacation, have had a longer time away, or if you're just looking to make the most out of a new dance season. On our agenda for today, we're going to reflect on where you're starting from, set the stage for a positive class experience, make a participation plan, and we'll look at some rest and recovery strategies. When I gave this workshop live, there were lots of great questions. I'm just recording myself for today, so I'll try to remember and incorporate some of those questions as I go along. This is a fantastic time to pull out your dance journal as we take a look at what this past season held for you. Think about the challenges you had and how they may have impacted your well-being and your dancing. If you need to pause throughout the video and take some time to think or write, go right ahead. I'll move on to the second question, which is, what supports did you have in place? Those might be family, friends, your dance community, or mental and physical health practices like getting out in nature, having a good conditioning program, or writing in your dance journal. And then the third point I'd love for you to reflect on is whether there's anything that you'd like to carry forward into this new dance season. Moving on, we are setting the stage for a positive class experience. It's important to plan adequate meals and snacks to fuel your activity because when you're dancing, you're typically using a lot of energy. Now, I'm not a dietitian or a doctor or anything like that. I also don't live in your body, so I don't know what feels good for you. If you're looking for advice on nutrition, I definitely recommend that you check in with someone who is trained and certified in that field. But one rule of thumb that I was given in nutrition workshops during my ballet training was to aim for a meal 1.5 to 2 hours and or a snack half an hour to an hour before class. So depending on your schedule, food availability, and preferences, having something prepared and giving yourself enough time to rest and digest can be a great way to support yourself before class. Lots of my students work 9 to 5 and then hurry across town for a 6 o'clock class, so if that's you, grabbing a sandwich at your desk around 4:30 might be a good option. Now, I can tell you lots about warming up. You don't need to do an elaborate workout before class, but choosing a few movements to prepare you is absolutely vital for dancing safely and dancing your best. The three main components of a warm-up are circulation, mobilization, and activation. I have a little resource archive that includes a guide to quick and effective warm-up routines. I think it's called Get Warm Not Tired, so I'll put a link in the description for you to check out if you want to dive a little bit deeper. You might opt to do your warm-up at home, in the studio, or integrate parts of it into your workday. One question that came up in the live workshop was, what should you do if a short warm-up isn't enough and your body needs a little more care, particularly if you don't feel you have enough time to do what you need right before class? In those cases, I like to give myself lots of movement breaks throughout the day, kind of like little movement snacks. Just as you might want a granola bar halfway through your morning, you might need a bit of a stretch and a wiggle. So if you're at a desk, you could incorporate some seated tucks and tilts. Then the next time you take a little break, you could walk around or get in some piano toes or doming. And if you can move more throughout the day, then you may just need a little bit of a warm-up right before you start dancing. Moving on to your participation plan. You want to go into class already knowing what body cues to listen for and what kind of modifications suit your needs. In the highest echelons of ballet education and professional dance, everyone gets the privilege of customization and using movement to understand how their unique body works best. I don't see any reason this approach should be off limits to anybody else who's participating in dance. So we're going to take time today to think about the strategies that'll serve you best as an individual. Some key factors to consider are your current activity level, So this time of year, lots of us have taken a month or two off or may have slowed down in our dancing schedule a little bit, or you might be coming back from a longer break due to injury, illness, life circumstances, what have you. So we want to look at where you are today, not where you were a couple of months or years ago, and then meet you where you're at. It's also important to consider challenging steps. I know some dancers who've been working very, very hard on their batterie and their point work. When they got to the end of the term in June, those were still big challenges for them. So if they've had time off, they might not be up for jumping into the hardest version right away. Choosing modifications that allow you to perform well within the strength and technique currently available to you is going to help you build back stronger and faster and with less risk of injury. With that in mind, we want to look at current or historical injuries or any parts of your body that might need a bit more support along the way. And think about how your body and mind feel when you're dancing, because that offers wonderful cues for when you need a break, how you can pace yourself, and what supports will help you the most. Supports can include taping techniques, modifying classwork, tailoring your conditioning exercises, or opting out of something if it's not the right fit for you right now. Take a moment to think about all the signals that you tend to notice in your own body so you can keep them top of mind as you're heading into class. In action, this might look like doing grand pliés only in second for the first few weeks and demi-pliés for the rest, then graduating to first position, then you might have a mini break in your dance year and afterwards add fourth and fifth position when you feel you have the strength for it. It might be noticing a lot of fatigue after one Allegro exercise in your first class back, and then heading to the bar for calf raises or a chair for seated rises or port-a-bras. It might look like opting for a clean retire on flat instead of a pirouette so you can find your strength and confidence, then adding the elements of spotting and releve before increasing the challenge into single or multiple pirouettes followed by fouettes. Finally, as our curtain call for today, we're going to look at recovery practices. Your classwork is when you experiment and learn, and your recovery practices are when you build strength and integrate new motor patterns into long-term abilities. So everything that you got to try out in class, you actually need to rest, refuel, and recover so that your brain builds those pathways and your muscles and connective tissues build up nice and strong. The tips I have for recovery would be snack straight away, especially if you have a long commute. It can be tempting to wait until you get home, get changed, and cook dinner before you have something to eat, and all of a sudden a couple of hours have gone by. If you have even a small snack right away, that gets some glycogen into your muscles to kickstart recovery, and you buy yourself a bit more time to go have a proper meal. I would also say make sure you're drinking enough fluids. You want to have something to drink before and during class, and you also want to make sure you have enough to drink afterwards. You might like to have water, electrolyte drinks, nice herbal tea. Lots of my students have jumped on the coconut water train with me for long dancing days because it's a nice source of potassium for your muscles. So do what feels good for you. Now, I often say in class, please don't stretch for longer than 30 seconds before we're going to be active. But after class, when you're doing recovery, that's the perfect time. So if you'd like to do a long, luxurious stretch, now is your moment. Those can be a great way to relax and unwind and get a different type of flexibility work into your training. If you can figure out some mindfulness practices that you enjoy, that can be a huge benefit to your dancing. That might be paying attention to the sensations in your body when you're doing your long, gentle stretches. It might be breathing exercises or meditation. It could be visualizing the exercises you worked on in class or doing a bit of journaling about how class felt for you. Whatever you need to do to calm your nervous system and get back into that rest and digest mode, that's also going to help you consolidate the work that you did. It gives your brain the opportunity to build those strong pathways and hold on to everything you practiced in class and sets you up for a good night's sleep. Thank you very much for coming to this little workshop. I hope it gives you some ideas on how to set yourself up for a happy, healthy dance season. There's a link in the description for the resources I mentioned, and if you want, you can sign up for emails to stay in the loop with all of this stuff as it comes out. That's all from me for today, except to wish you a great start to the term. I hope it is a mindful and joyous dancing experience.